Los Angeles is on fire again, not from flames but from fury. Protesters flood the streets, voices rise in anger, signs wave in the air, but who's really pulling the strings? Is this a spontaneous movement, or is there a hidden force behind it all? Political agendas, organized influence, or something even deeper? In today's video, we uncover what the media won't show you, who's behind the LA protests, and why it matters more than ever. Stay tuned, the truth may shock you. In June 2025, massive protests broke out in Los Angeles after ICE agents conducted large-scale immigration raids across the city. Dozens of undocumented workers were arrested in surprise operations, backed by federal forces including the FBI and DHS. The raids sparked outrage across LA. Videos of the arrest went viral and people took to the streets in protest. What began as peaceful demonstrations soon turned violent, with tear gas, arrests, and clashes with law enforcement. Mayor Karen Bass condemned the raids, while President Trump responded by sending over 2,000 National Guard troops and later 700 Marines. Without the governor's approval, now, LA has become the center of a national debate about immigration, power, and protest. And the situation is still unfolding. The protests in Los Angeles have brought together a wide range of people. Immigrant rights organizations such as Churla and Union del Barrio were the first to mobilize, defending communities targeted in the ICE raids. They were quickly joined by labor unions like SEIU, whose president, David Huerta, was even arrested while standing up for workers. Local nonprofits and mutual aid groups provided protective gear, legal support, and organized peaceful resistance. Alongside them, everyday citizens, including students, parents, and young activists, flooded the streets after viral videos of the raids sparked outrage. While most protesters remained peaceful, some clashed with law enforcement, leading to accusations from federal authorities about professional agitations and organized unrest. The result is a protest movement that blends long-standing community activism with fresh anger from regular people who feel their city and rights are under attack. There are growing concerns and debates about possible outside influence in the Los Angeles protests. Federal officials have suggested that the protests may be fueled in part by national activist networks and online movements like the 50,501 movement, which encourages coordinated demonstrations across all 50 US states. Some media outlets and politicians have also accused so-called of traveling from other cities to provoke violence and escalate tensions. However, many local leaders and activists deny this, saying the protests are a genuine response from the people of Los Angeles to the federal raids and military deployment. While it's true that national organizations and social media campaigns are helping spread awareness and resources, most of the action on the ground appears to be driven by local communities who are angry, scared, and demanding justice. The line between outside support and outside control remains blurred, making this a controversial and politically charged question. The protesters in Los Angeles are united by a powerful set of demands centered on justice, accountability, and the protection of civil rights. At the top of their list is an immediate halt to all immigration raids and deportations, especially those carried out without prior coordination with local authorities. They are calling for the release of undocumented workers who were detained during the recent ICE operations, many of whom were taken without warning from their workplaces and neighborhoods. Protesters also want the withdrawal of National Guard troops and Marines from the streets of LA, arguing that the military presence has only escalated tensions and endangered civilians. Another major demand is for greater protections for immigrant communities, including the passage of local and state-level sanctuary laws that prevent collaboration with federal immigration enforcement. In addition, protesters are urging Mayor Karen Bass and Governor Gavin Newsom to take stronger legal action against the federal government's unilateral military intervention. Beyond the immediate crisis, many demonstrators are also pushing for long-term immigration reform, pathways to citizenship, and an end to what they describe as the criminalization of poverty and race. Their message is loud and clear. They want safety, dignity, and basic human rights for all, regardless of immigration status. The ongoing protests in Los Angeles have had a major impact on the city, both visible and deeply felt. Economically, many businesses in protest zones, particularly in downtown LA and the fashion district, have shut down due to safety concerns or property damage. Public transportation has been disrupted in several areas, and rideshare services have suspended operations in high-conflict zones, making it difficult for residents to commute. Schools near protest sites have shortened hours or temporarily closed, and many parents are afraid to send their children out. Socially, the protests have intensified divisions within the city between those supporting the demonstrators and those demanding a return to order. Emergency rooms have reported a rise in protest injuries, and local hospitals are under pressure due to both physical injuries and mental health cases caused by fear and stress. Meanwhile, city resources like law enforcement and emergency services are stretched thin as they deal with ongoing clashes, roadblocks, and mass arrests. Influencers and community voices online have played a big role in shaping public opinion, sharing protest footage, offering emotional support, and encouraging people to speak out. Many are calling calm, dialogue, and justice, while others are calling for more aggressive resistance. Overall, the city feels at the same time there's a strong sense of solidarity and resistance growing in affected communities. Murals, vigils, and pop-up aid stations have appeared throughout the city, turning public spaces into hubs of protest culture. Los Angeles is at a standstill in some areas, but it's also at a turning point, with the protests leaving a mark on its economy, daily life, and political atmosphere. Reactions to the protests across Los Angeles have been mixed but passionate. Many local residents, especially those from immigrant communities, say the protests are long overdue and reflect years of fear, discrimination, and injustice. They believe the recent ICE raids were a violation of basic human rights, and they are calling for unity and protection for vulnerable families. On the other hand, some residents are concerned about the violence and disruption, saying that while they support peaceful protests, the destruction of property and clashes with police are hurting neighborhoods. Politicians have been divided. Some are strongly criticizing the federal government for sending military forces without state approval, while others are defending the move as necessary for restoring order. LZ's tense and deeply emotional, with every side expressing fear, anger, and hope in different ways. To restore peace and rebuild trust, the government needs to take immediate and thoughtful action, whether with force or with understanding. As the world watches, one thing is clear: the voices rising in LA are not backing down. Stay informed, stay thoughtful, and thank you for watching.